Hi, I Sailor Moon, Serena, I Sailor Mars, Sailor Red World Ray here, and today we're going to talk about worship in Sailor Moon, or at least Christendom in Sailor Moon. Now, I know a lot of folks out there are going to say that worship doesn't play grounds in Sailor Moon at all, that it was only there. Now, at first, you might think that worship doesn't have anything to do with Sailor Moon, and that might be due to Deke Glee's Sailor Moon, Deke and Disney taking anything out that had something to do with worship, you know. But they didn't really take it out. They may have shifted what was said. Now, it is clear, it is good to say that I'm a Christendom. Now, which arm of Christendom I belong to, you can fill that in, if I belong to any arm at all. Now, first off, we don't really get into that until after Molly still upset over Nephrite's death and goes to meet a worship elder. His name is not given, but unknown to him, he happened to have a rainbow hearse inside of him that he didn't know about, and he had his whole life. And Zoisite came after him. Now, also in this saga, Malvin was also with me too, because he went over to see how Molly was doing. And Zoisite took the rainbow hearse out. By doing so, freed the fiend which was inside the rainbow hearse, and it took over him. Now, after I healed him, or more likely it was God and Jesus that casted the fiend out. They just worked through me and with me to do it. And after that, he gives a speech about how fighting is a bad thing, and we must do all we can do, to get it out of our lives. Now, we all know in Viz, he doesn't say that. He says in Viz, I believe in God. Do you? Go to your fellow man or your fellow woman. Now, however one you take, worship's in there, and it is what it is. Now, I know that I would be not talking about Shintoism or whatever the English word, what English word for that worship, but that plays a lot, Yeah, Sailor Moon. I mean, it's not the first time or last time it will come up. I mean, by the fourth following, Tiger's Eye goes after a holy woman who he believes has Helios in her dreams. Well, it shifts out that she doesn't. And one of the teachers at my Learn by the fifth following, who moonlights as a film overseer, happens to also be a holy woman herself. Now, if she's the same one, now keep in mind that when Tiger Eye was going after her, Artemis had fallen in love with the worship house, the Christian worship house, and Luna took it the wrong way. But those are the only times it ever comes up in Sailor Moon. And that's how it's handled or played in Pioneer Glee. And that's how Pioneer handled it. Now we know in Viz that it's handled a little unlike. That Tiger Eye wants to, still wants to go after her dream because he thinks that Helios is in it. And then shames her for believing that God and Jesus will help her. Which is also kind of a mean thing to do, I mean, yes, God and Jesus does help her because we show up and we end up running him off and beating one of the fiends that he sent. Now, anyway, at the end of the day, I guess it was Iron Mouse or Steelmouse or Sailor Steelmouse, who went after one of my teachers who was a holy woman from my learn I go to. And yes, it's true, I do go to a CHRISTDOM learn, known to the TH, TL, learn, I guess, for girls, I guess, or whatever the name of it is. Because Deke and Disney had one name for it. Pioneer most likely kept the Dawnish name. And we know Viz kept the Dawnish name too. Well, isn't it so? Yeah. And some folks might say that Christendom doesn't play any grounds in Sailor Moon. Well, if that's true, then you could say the same thing about Shintoism. If it does play or doesn't play grounds in Sailor Moon or not. And a lot of folks might think that me being a Shintoist, and why would I go to a Christendom learn? I don't know. But I do know my worship house, Red Hills, worship house comes up a lot. It's where some things go down. It's where Jedi was doing his evil gold making lorries go missing with folks in them. It was where Cat Seed had her fiend strike it, fight me. And me and Cat Seed fought. It's where the Sailor Fighters fight many times. And it's also where Cat Seed ended up, becoming good at. So there's many times, and it's where we all could study, we did learning gatherings from the 3rd following into the 4th following there as well. Hell, it's even where Tiger Eye went after me once, and it's even where Shoot went after, a friend of mine once as well. Well, yeah, you're right, Sailor Mars, Sailor Red World Ray. I mean, 2 worships do tend to play out in Sailor Moon, Christendom and Shintoism. Now, I know there are many other worships out there, like Judaism or Islamism or Sikhism or Hinduism or Buddhism, and some folks say don't know if the other one's a worship or not, and sundry other worships out there, sundry worships out there, and why only those 2? I would like to think there are folks in Sailor Moon who belong to all those worships, and some who most likely do not. But I know I'm a Christendom, and I know that Ray is a Shintoist, I guess. That's what you would call someone, I guess. Even though a lot of folks are going to say in Sailor Moon that Viz doesn't bring up all the oversights that a Shintoist follows when going to their worship house or not. And Disney and Deke did not, and Pioneer did not. Yeah, because I don't think all the oversights or, was really needed for the sagas that were being told, I think. But I guess they were there. They weren't skimmed out, because Viz didn't put them in. Toei didn't put all the oversights in, but they were there. It wasn't like Disney or Deke skimmed them out or Pioneer skimmed them out, because they did not. So anyway, just talking about worship in Sailor Moon, how Deke and Disney handled it, how Pioneer handled it, and how Viz handled it. I, Sailor Moon Serena, and I, Sailor Mars, Sailor Red World Ray, and we'll see you later.